Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be getting together again for the weekly webinar. Tonight, we're just going to try our best to make it as informal as possible. Tonight, we're going to try our best to just to enjoy it and be as relaxed as possible. It's all about having fun. So this is it, and of course we're back to tonight to discuss happenings in our country, Nigeria. As usual, it's always a pleasure to be gathered to discuss Nigeria, because somehow we are not giving up on Nigeria. It does not look like typically we should. The easier option is actually to give up on Nigeria, but we are not giving up on Nigeria. Somehow we believe in Nigeria. We believe there is a hope. We believe things will get better. We believe that indeed they can get better, and of course, like I said, they will. They surely will get better. So that is our hope. That is our assurance. That is our belief. And of course, some might have doubts about that. Especially with the kind of things that have happened in recent times, it's very easy for people to question if indeed this thing we say about Nigeria getting better can it indeed actually get better. And it's a question I've been asked quite a lot of times. People have asked me a lot of times, and gone like, you keep talking about Nigeria like there's some kind of hope, for Nigeria. And I go like, okay, why can there be no hope for Nigeria? And of course, quite a lot of times, your location also makes it quite difficult, to preach the message, because people. There are times people just tend not to want to believe you, or not want to just give your views that regard, because you live outside the shores, quote unquote. You live outside the shores of Nigeria. So when you're talking about Nigeria getting better, it is because you are not experiencing, quote unquote, what those who are on ground are experiencing. I've heard that quite a lot of times. That is leveled at quite a lot of people who live abroad. But of course, these are some of the things we want to discuss. We want to look at the things that are going on in Nigeria, all the things that are causing the challenges that we currently have. How do we have that confidence? Do we have that confidence that Nigeria would indeed get better? That indeed there is a hope and there's a future for Nigeria. We do, and that's why we're here. Like I said, we do, and that is why we're here. That we believe that things can get to change. But of course, there have been so many developments in Nigeria, especially in the past week, where for the first time, like we mentioned earlier, there was talk about impeaching the incumbent president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari. And of course, we heard about the army checkpoint at one of the gateways to Abuja. The army military checkpoint, let's put it that way, that was attacked by bandits. Of course, ISWAP tried to claim responsibility for it earlier today, but the security analysts have said, this is nothing to do with ISWAP, because they do not even know the basic details of that attack. So these are some of the things, and we just want to all discuss them and basically, several topics. It's not, we don't have a fixed topic today. Tonight, we're going to allow our guests to be the determinant of what we discuss, and of course, we're going to also take issues from social media as we go along as well. So let us start with you, PLIDE-GAHRD. Let us start with you. What do you want us to discuss? What are you discussing today? What is that issue that is very close to your heart that you really have to talk about?
All right. Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Convener, for this session once again, and for this opportunity.
Okay, I think we lost audio from we lost the feed. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go on, yeah.
To discuss Nigeria, I will continue to discuss Nigeria. I will continue to discuss Nigeria. Why? Is because Nigeria is our fatherland. Nigeria is our country. Nigeria is our origin. And though we have focusless leaders, we have people who are very selfish. We have leaders who are indeed not leaders. The issue that is very germane and critical to my heart is to discuss the recent occurrence in the last that happened last week, where the senators from the People Democratic Party, staged a walkout from the session. John, the question I've been asking people is this: are senators now aware that Mr. President is deemed for impeachment? Mr. President has told Nigerians at one or two occasions several in the past. The recent one, when he went to Daura for Salah, he said the task of governing this nation in Herculean is too huge for him to carry on. That is a statement of a confessional statement to say that where I am right now, this is a beneficiary. This is where God has helped me. And even without him professing or saying that statement, his body language over time has also pointed in the same direction. That Mr. President is tired, he does not have the mental capacity, he does not have the intellectual requirements, he does not have, people might say he has the physical, but the
recording
mental,
in progress.
The emotional intelligence is not there for him to govern this country effectively. If you are looking at the economy, it's in comatose. Can we talk of health sector? Can we talk of education? Can we talk of securities? Can we talk of which sector can we say that that is critical to the sustenance and the well-being of an every Nigeria that this Mr. President has done well? No. So with that, this is not time for the senators either from the PDP or APC to be played to the gallery to say they want to impeach Mr. President. The question I ask is this: was it because the security of their Abuja is threatened that they now woke up from their slumber to say they want to impeach the president? All of us are aware of that fact that so many Nigerians have been killed, they've been maimed in different parts of this country. So now that Abuja was threatened, that they have to shut all the unity schools, they have to, attack some military checkpoint and the likes, it is until then that our senators are beginning to wake up or put their sensing and logical cap in place to say they want to impeach Mr. President. Mr. President over time is deemed for impeachment for his failures to have been able to protect lives and property of this country, which has contravened Section 14, subsection 2 of the Constitution, which he publicly swore to uphold, which stated clearly that the welfare and the security of the people shall be the primary purpose of the government. And whether the government has failed in providing this salient and critical section of this Constitution, it's sadly, there are so many reasons why presidents can be impeached. We can pass a vote of no confidence on the president and it's time to be impeached. So there are provisions in the Constitution over time that we ought to have invoked to have sent signals to this Mr. President. Our senators indeed are people out there to protect and promote the interests of the people. Not only to get city allowances, to wear agbada, to wear kaftan. Some of them will go to the National Assembly, Upper Chamber, and be sleeping. So over time, they've also in their own mind have lost our confidence, we've lost the trust in them to be able to properly caution whoever has gone wrong or who has gone air. So for me, I think the impeachment of the president is not overdue. It should have been impeached over time. And again, boils down to the issue of security. All of us knew the agitation of Boko Haram guys. They said no to Western education. No to Western education. It is one of their primary and critical agitations. And where are we today? ASU has been on strike for over 6 months. So Western education in tertiary institution is indirectly killed. Now they are beginning to kill the secondary education. The unity schools in Abuja is being shut down. Now, if there are security information affecting some other part of the country, invariably, directly or indirectly, those secondary schools will also shut down. So what are we saying? That the yearnings and aspiration of Boko Haram is beginning to be the order of the day in our country. They said no to Western education. Diplomatically or systematically, the government has killed tertiary education because ASU has been on strike. And secondary education are beginning to also be killed in tandem with the agitation of Boko Haram. So what are we now talking about? Everything in this country is pointing in the direction that the bandits and the terrorists are overwhelming our military and our armed forces. Though, there's no gainsaying here. We have to appreciate our gallant men of the armed forces who have been trying, day and night, toiling the midnight candle to put end to, insurgency and banditry. But nevertheless, there is a limit to what they can do. When the center cannot hold, we always say things will definitely fall apart. And we know the military system, they take order from, they take the last order from their commanding, the commandant and the like. So if you're looking at the security architecture of this country, I remember there was a time that Lai Mohammed said Boko Haram had been technically defeated. But all of us can see, as of today, that Boko Haram, bandits, terrorists were no time technically defeated. This nation is collapsing gradually, where the security and the weight of the people cannot be given prior attention. Automatically, there can never be development. Where there is no peace, there cannot be development. Where there is no peace, there cannot be sanity. Where there is no peace and where security is threatened, there will be no economic advancement. So in as much that the security cannot be properly, attacked and be given an head-on approach, the tendency of us moving and progressing as a nation is in doubt. We only pray because we continue to pray now because automatically we are not expected to pray because God has given us the brain, God has given us human and enable capacity to be able to govern the nation effectively. But fortunately, we have leaders who are not leaders in quotes. And with that, we are beginning to resort to God. It is only God that is protecting us. Government can only ensure security, but protection is of God. That is my solution. God bless you, Mr. Convener.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sejen. I'm just going to ask you, you said we can only pray, but at the same time, God has given us the brain. And I'm like, what do we really do? Because there are problems, there are challenges that other nations of the world actually tackle. They rise up, everybody they all buckle up and they just get it done. But how long are we going to be praying over problems, over challenges that actually within our grasp as a nation? If someone, if you are saying to our children, just pray to pass your exams, and the children are playing Nintendo, or just playing around, isn't the solution right there in our own hands? In terms of getting up and doing, changing our ways, changing our attitudes. Why should we continue to rely on prayers?
Yes, Mr. Convener. For me, I don't want to say it's an act of spiritual stupidity for us to commit unto God what men are expected to do for us. God will not come down from his throne to guide us on how to secure our country. Mm-hmm. God will not come down from his throne to say our leaders must be responsible. God will not come down to say that we must put end to corruption. God will not come down to say that our structure, our organizational arms must be well fortified and they must be according to the norms. It is quite unfortunate as you speak in Nigeria and in some other part of Africa that we've resorted our faith of what our leader expected to do to God. It's an object of responsibility. God has given us human and natural resources that are enough to make Nigeria great, that are enough to make our country better. But we've been blessed with wrong people. We've been blessed with visionless leaders. We've been blessed with selfish and, high degree of self-centered leaders who only believe in their purses, in their family, but not in the welfare of people who might have elected them to govern them. Like it is, and like I said previously, at this time, we are not even expected to be talking of impeachment. This should have sent signals to Mr. President that our senators are indeed senators. They are representative of the people. But what do we have now? We have senators where, they need to go wear Jalamia, wear Agbada, and go to the National Assembly chamber to speak English. We've seen on several occasions where they've invited some either ministers or some of our leaders to National Assembly, and their decisions have been flouted. People are beginning to flout the decision directive of National Assembly, and nothing has happened. That is to say, they've turned them to toothless backing dog. And if you are beginning to look like that, if our representatives are not representative in the real sense of it, we cannot get it right. Rules, responsibility are beginning to be with the executive. Our legislators that we have, either in the federal, in the state, or local government, are mere rubber stamp legislators. It's whatever the executive brings to them that they stamp, even without questioning. People are clamoring to say Nigeria, our debt profile is high. And
I think there's been a freeze from his line, so we'll take him back once we can get that sorted. I just want. You're back. Oh, fantastic! Please go on.
Yes, I said for 2023 budget, if our president still bring in a budget and which is going to be centered on borrowing, I can bet you our National Assembly members are still going to pass this budget. What are we now saying? There's no proper, scrutinization of our books as a country. Our people who do not have the required insight for them to move this country forward. People are just working haphazardly, and with that, this nation cannot move forward. Security has been deliberated on the floor of the Senate and National Assembly on several occasions. People have called the army chiefs to order. They've invited some of them, some due to their position or personal interest, honored the invitation. Some blatantly disregarded the invitation of National Assembly, and nothing has happened. So we cannot continue to do things anyhow and expect a different result. God has given us what we need as a nation to prosper, to do well. Even despite the endemic and the level of corruption that is ravaging this country, Nigeria is still standing on its feet. If there are some other countries with the level of corruption that is going on in this country, some of that country might have collapsed. But God loves us. We have the best billionaires of pastors around in the whole world in Nigeria. People go to church every day to pray for Nigeria. Some churches now, after the first or second agenda of their program is a prayer for the nation. But I want to say that it might be this prayer that is still sustaining us. Because if not, we have so many forces that is ravaging against the progress of this country. But at the same time, our leaders must live up to their true responsibility of, championing the cause of this country to a greater height. They must indeed lift their head above waters. They must have what it takes to provide solutions to the urgent issues of security and economy. As of last week, dollar at the black market was 710 naira. And some time ago, we have a country that just beats to the gallery. We had a time in which Aboki FS, a software which the country, presumed that is responsible for speculating the prices of dollar in the parallel market. They said they want to shut down Aboki FS application. And many of us thought, if it's a sensible government, shutting down Aboki FS at less than 600 naira. Now, dollar is over 710 naira. So what is the impact of shutting down Aboki FS? Even with or without Aboki FS, dollar is skyrocketing in the black market. So what is the point? It appears we have people who are in the economic team who does not understand how the economic works and who does not understand how this nation works. So to us, we have so many people at the end of our years who lack the required direction, who lack the required vision, and who lack the emotional intelligence of moving Nigeria forward. That is just my position. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for that. We'll still come back to you because there are quite a few things to discuss. There are a few points you made there that I would like to interrogate you on. Necessarily, you mentioned Aboki effects and a few other things, and of course, there are quite a lot to talk about. But I believe we've got. Let's go to the others and also have them introduce what is their own topic. What is it they want to talk about today? Like we said, today is actually freestyle. Tonight we're actually having our panelists actually introduce topics close to their heart and talk about it themselves. It's you that mentions the topic and it's you also that talks about it. So I believe let's go with Senator Messi at this point. I believe she's there. Senator Messi, are you able to participate in the conversation this evening? Because quite a lot of times she joins from meetings and quite a few other things, so she's not able to talk. Okay, we'll just go to Oladayo Afolabi. We'll go to one of our directors on that score. So Oladayo Afolabi, let's have you participate. So what's your own take? What topic is there that is close to your heart? So we'll just give you 5 to 10 minutes. You can take 5 minutes. You can as little as 5 minutes. You can take as much as 10 minutes. Feel free to talk on your topic. Yeah.
Good evening, the convener. Good evening, the SecGen. Good evening, Director PG Todd. Good evening, every other person on the call. For me, I just want to look at the security architecture of the country at this time. And some of the questions I ask is, why is the Nigerian military, which in the past has recorded successes, even in peacekeeping, even in securing other nations prior to this time, not able to replicate the same feat in the country? And, before now, when I remember during the first term, when almost all the heads of paramilitary came from the north, people raised concerns, and it was looking as if, it was ethnic bias, it was religious bias and all that. But as it stands now, it's as if the fears have been confirmed. And, one of the prayers you find on social media is, may Nigeria not happen to you. And when people say, may Nigeria not happen to you, they are trying, most of the time, it's referenced in terms of insecurity, because you now have people who were defensive of the decisions of the government, of the policies of the government, and especially of the body language in terms of security approach and strategy, who were actually trying to make people to not think about the worst and then believe that everything is intended for good and all that. And I remember having conversations with some people, and they said, it was because in the first term of Buhari, at the end of the day, it was during the military junta, he was removed by a coup. And so in order to kind of prevent such a thing from happening again, probably that's why he has decided to surround himself with people he trusts and all that and all that. But here we are now. Insecurity has spread from what it used to be in the northeast to having been replicated, the same tragedy, as it were, is now being experienced in almost every part of the country. And some other questions that agitate the mind is, how come the so-called Operation Crocodile Smile and all of that is effective in the southeastern part of the country is not as effective in the northeast, in the northwest? It actually brings to mind to actually accuse the government of being accomplices in some of these things. We've actually talked about the sympathy to actually tolerating some of these so-called insurgents and their hearts at the initial time after this government was installed. But here we are today. We have people who are now so bold to threaten to to kidnap both a sitting governor and a sitting president. And so, let me not deviate so much. The question is, why is our security architecture not working again? And of course, one of the things that would readily be an obvious answer is that we have a situation where heads of most of these our so-called security um, arms are now either sympathizers of the bandits and all that, or probably they have people who are maybe the sponsors who they have to pay allegiance to. But in all, we can all agree that our security architecture has been infiltrated, and it will take a lot of dissociation for any government to actually address that. We need to government need to dissociate themselves either by whatever affiliation, either religious affiliation, language, ethnicity, whatever form it will come. One of the things I asked is President Obama of the United States has an African ancestry. I think Kenya to be precise. But when he was president of America, he didn't just open America up to Kenya and say, "Oh, Kenyans should come into America irrespective of whatever whatever reason." As in, there was no measure to say that, oh, there are going to be preference for Kenyans to come into America and all that, because the institutions were already empowered. Yes, and so you can't just come out the president and take unilateral decisions or act and remain unchecked, because when certain decisions are ignored and allowed to fly, yes, and what you begin to have is people begin to it's like giving when the popular saying that when you give a person just a footstool, it begins to take steps, as the case may be. Or you give a person a 1 mile and decides to take a 10 mile. When it's at the time when it was as if the president is all power, he cannot be challenged. His decisions cannot be subjected to debate. Whatever. We have actually hated all of these things, and so from inception, when those things, the issue of appointments were coming up, and then people were raising concerns, and these, of course, the people who were in place or who were supposed to actually challenge such decisions began to look away. You now find a situation where it became a practice. It became, oh, we can do it and get away with it. And before you know it, some other people with other ulterior motives became further emboldened. They understand probably the things that they could not dare to do before. And especially with the presence of funds coming their way, they were empowered and they could do more. And so things have gone worse over the years. And the last 7 years in Nigeria history can actually be adjudged to be the worst when it comes to insecurity in the country. And it is the first time in our history where you have a situation whereby almost all heads of our security agencies and let's even forget about the elite people. I'm sure when you actually look at the distribution of responsibility in those agencies too, I want to believe that they would actually also be skewed, you understand, in favor of a region, in favor of people. And then when things like that begin to happen, you only open every other person, you open the nation to all sorts of things, including what we have now, where nowhere is safe again. Gone are the days we felt it is only people that are living in the border towns or laboring, in the border towns that are prone to insecurity. Unfortunately, insecurity has found its way to the city. Insecurity is beginning to become civilized. If you get what I'm saying, it's beginning to become a norm where each time you just go out, you just need to pray for God's guidance, and hopefully you return back home in one piece. And this has led to a lot of things. It's affecting everything. It's a lot of good ants are beginning to abandon the country because they see talent being lost to insurgents, and then the question they ask themselves is, this person did not actually walk into this thing. It's different when you are careless with your living, in quotes. Things happen and people try to attribute it. Oh, he caused it himself. It's because of what he did or did not do. You understand? But you now find a scenario by, irrespective of what you do or do not do, you just need that part of God keeping you safe and helping you to live every day in one piece. And so when we look at what this whole thing has cost, you can look at the ripple effect and say to yourself, how did we get here? That's one of the questions that begins to agitate the mind. And so the other thing is, how do we find our way out of this? And then I now begin to see why those who put the quota system, the wisdom behind doing it, and then it was actually enacted in quotes and enforced to ensure that at least to a lot of extent there is equity, you understand, in the system, and there is a form of balance, you understand. But now what we have is a show whereby a part of the populace, in quotes, or a section feels, oh, they are more important and they are more entitled than the other, or that, oh, it is our turn, and whatever we like, we are going to do with it. And as if we didn't learn anything from that, you now have a party even lauding their so-called religious, same religious tickets or none of us. And if we have not learned from what we have experienced now, I think it may be difficult for us to undo the kind of evil that may actually befall the nation if all of these so-called decisions are not actually reconsidered or reevaluated again. I just hope that I also always lean in the part of the God factor. And how do I mean? This is not something a man can do again. You can only there is a point you get to, and it is not even by your own strength that you would actually achieve certain things again. And where the point Nigeria has gotten to, it's not what we can do. We can't help ourselves out of it. It's like a bird that has found itself in a cage. obviously the person who fabricated the cage is wiser than the bird. And there's nothing the bird can do to come out of that cage. You only need somebody who is stronger to come and help it out, as the case may be. And so I think we're at that point now where we cannot do anything by ourselves again in this country. We just need to rely on the God factor to help us. Having said that, I think the people in the heads of affairs would have a rethink, especially the people who have been entrusted in protecting the life of the people, especially by the way of the position they occupy, where their word is law. You know, we've had a situation whereby soldiers complain that they try to do what they feel in their judgment is right, and at the end of the day, they are being court-martialed and all that. You know, all of these things are beginning to add up. If a section of the people feel sympathy for the so-called terrorists, for the so-called bandits, and because of that, they decide to look away and not even doing anything to actually call these people to order. You know, it's just a matter of time. A Yoruba adage will say, "Tabani kasofo soja, ara ilé ẹni ló máa ń bá." Apologies to those who do not understand Yoruba, but the thing is, when you decide to actually literally, it's that when you throw a stone into the market, it's possible that the person that will be hit by that stone is actually your own person. You know, for many people who have actually tolerated these things and looked away in the past, when Nigeria happens to them, their response is always different, and then that's what we continue to hope, that probably people will have a rethink and do the right thing. Let me just pause at this point and allow for others to make their contributions. We'll trust God that this security challenge will also pass, like other challenges that we have had at the nation before now. Thank you, the convener. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, PLIDE-GAHRD, Oladaya Falabi, and you raised a lot of very, very good points, and I'll still take you up on some of those points. I'll take you on one right away, and I'll take you up on the others much later. I mean, you're absolutely. I share those things. You said something about the analogy so beautiful. You talked about Barack Obama. Barack Obama being, of course, fully American, born in America, born in Hawaii, I believe, and of an American mother, you know, and of a Kenyan father who had been to the United States to study. Now, when he became president of the United States of America, he did not open up America to all of a sudden, he did not flood America with Kenyans or suddenly bend the laws to favor Kenyans. And I totally agree with you. You asked the question, Operation Crocodile Smile, and all those things have been very effective in the Southeast. And of course, when there was that fear of great insecurity in the southwestern part of Nigeria and in the southeast, through the Sunday Igboho group and the other one through Nnamdi Kanu's group, the government of Nigeria, descended very heavily on those groups, and of course nipped the violence and everything in the bud, and of course attempted to cage one and attempted to cage the other, and of course Sunday Igboho fled to the Republic of Benin, where he currently remains under house arrest. But beyond that, why can't the same thing not be replicated in the Northwest? And you just And of course, I don't know. I've seen that documentary by the BBC, and of course, I just like Kadaria Ahmed did, right? I do condemn almost like reproducing the propaganda videos of terrorist groups in the host nation of BBC, the United Kingdom. They wouldn't dare do such a thing by freely just giving publicity to the propaganda video of ISIS and some other terrorist groups such as that. But having said that, the BBC documentary does raise a few questions. You need, when you finish watching, you start asking yourself, is this not really more about collusion than something else? For example, the DSS did say that the DSS said, you know what, they actually provided advance warning to the security agencies, to other security agencies, that there was going to be an attempt by Boko Haram and ISWAP, to attack prisons. What happened? What did they do with that intelligence? And like when I was growing up, we always talk about, if you want to scare a little kid, you say Ojuju. You became grown, you realize that even Ojuju said no be spirits. Ojuju no be spirit. So when we say Ojujus are not, figures that just appear from outer space or from the realm of the spiritual. Ojujus, those who make those who wear the garbs of those Ojujus, they're just human beings that put on that facade. So you ask yourself, why can't we not get these people? And then now we're feeding them with more and more millions and billions. Within that BBC documentary, there was one of the warlords who actually said, for the students that were kidnapped from the government day secondary school Jangebe in Zamfara State, that they actually wanted 1 million per student, 300 girls, but ended up, accepting 60 million. That's for every 5 girls. If my mathematics is correct, they accepted 1 million. So for every girl that was kidnapped, effectively, for every 5 girls that was kidnapped, 200,000 naira was paid. So for 300 of them, if my mathematics is correct, and I believe it is, 60 million was paid, And the guy said he invested it heavily in buying rifles, obviously assault rifles and all those things. So you're actually building a military. And many of them are better than our armed forces. The other day, I saw a video whereby the Nigerian, supposedly Nigerian military was a robot, a gunner robot, with guns and everything. They were trialing it, and I'm like, look, what is the point when you go to war, quote unquote, you go to the battlefront, and then the enemy will come, and then you run and abandon this weapon again for the enemy. Then it is so sad. There seems to be some collusion of sorts, and many of you will bear witness. I have been a very reluctant convert into that line of argument, because I believe it is, and I still believe it's not possible for the entire security architecture to be compromised. But having said that, of course, we've always said that there's been some element of, and when you watch that video, all of a sudden you're seeing that schism. You're seeing them talk about, the Hausa and the Fulanis, and there seems to be quite a lot of territorial disputes right now, because of course historically the Hausas have always been farmers, tillers of the ground, and then of course the Fulanis have always been, rearers of animals. But then the fact remains that when Buhari came to government, and I totally agree with the analysis and the analogy and all the things said by Afolabi. When Buhari came to government, people kept shouting, "We're seeing strange faces. We're seeing people again and again and again. In the forest, in the bushes, with AK-47 rifles." And the president just appeared like he wasn't interested in listening. He wasn't interested. And of course, it wasn't the same chief of defense that you had Dambazo at that time. You had another, and you had all these people there, Dambazo, Munguno, and he just said like the president was not interested. People kept shouting insecurity. Look, we all grew up. In fact, we all look forward. I do remember whenever we went to spend some holiday with my grandma, we used to look forward to seeing the Fulanis pass by with their sticks, their water bottles. Once in a while, you find very few, a tiny fraction of them with transistor radios. But by and large, you saw them with walking sticks and water bottles and with their rams. And we were all friends. They will go past, we say hello to them, they will wave at us, and we'll buy wara. The milk byproduct, we'll buy it from them. So that was a kind of like that was a kind of setup. All of a sudden, there were people with AK-47 rifles, and Nigerians started shouting. If only this president was interested at that point, he could have nipped it in the bud. Because look at it this way. Now those people existed, and then there was that massacre in Plateau States, and there was that one mass killing, and I think that was when Nigerians, I believe that was a turning point against Buhari. He came in on the wave of great, acclaim. I believe that was a turning point, and Nigerians started turning against it and said, you know what, this guy, there seems to be something wrong. And in Benue as well, there loads and loads of attacks, and of course in Taraba State. And of course, we had in Takum, we had that issue, that killing in Takum as well. Our hometown of Lieutenant General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma. So these are some of the things we're talking about. And look, if by and large you have armed men who are able to roam freely in a country, the fact is criminals always look for safe havens. They always look for places where they can operate with the least likelihood of consequences or repercussion. So if the news travel far and wide, for example, to Chad, to Niger, to Mali, to parts of Burkina Faso that have been destabilized heavily, say, you know what, Nigeria is free. They don't arrest our government, they let them roam freely and all things. What you are saying, especially for a country with porous borders, is you see naturally a lot of those people will pour into your country because they are chasing them where they are. The military are always after them where they are. But in this country, the president refuses to accept that there is a problem, and so his body language, everything, the totality of his attitude to it. And I do recall, and I recommend that a lot of you should go and watch it. When the president, I believe, he had that podium side by side with President Emmanuel Macron of France. And someone asked the question, that was before the other room one with Angela Merkel, the former Chancellor of Germany. When he had that with Emmanuel Macron, someone did ask the question. One of the journalists, I believe, he has a question about the Boko, about the Fulani headsmen, with machine guns and all this. And the guy just turned his head. The president just turned to the other side. The body, and look, in a country such as ours, with very powerful commanders in chief, it is very difficult for you as the army chief, as the naval chief, as the Air Force chief, as the chief of defense intelligence, as Nigerian intelligence chief, all those military agencies, as the SSS chief, NIA, all of them, you take a lot of them will take their cue from the body language of the president. You don't want to go and start attacking a particular set of bandits when you suspect, quote and unquote, that your commander-in-chief will not approve of that action. And that action might actually bring you serious repercussions. President Buhari without doubt has actually brought this insecurity because they now grew from being criminals, from being bandits, and then they strengthen now they're a threat to the nation. Like I said, today is all about our guests again, so but I applied that Afolabi actually said quite a lot of things that actually do register with me, and these are thoughts that I've had as well. Of course, I'll take him on the issue of the Muslim ticket that he talked about, considering that one of the candidates actually has a wife who is a Christian, not just a Christian, but has allowed the wife to even grow up the ladder in Christianity to even be ordained. Because of course, we all do know people who are Muslims who will not allow their wives to, yes, you can be going to your church, but you will never, which one is pastor again? And we also know Christians as well, some Christians as well, that will not allow their wives as well. Okay, you can be a nominal Muslim, but we won't allow you to start taking on clerical roles, within the Islamic establishment. So, and of course, if he has not Islamized his wife after 30 years of marriage, and if it's, that's the question. And maybe I should just ask you directly before we go on to, we've got PLIDE-GAHRD on there, we've got our Sergeant also waiting, and we need to go back to them. But PLIDE-GAHRD, let me interrogate you on that. What exactly do you believe, and this is me, I'm sorry I'm putting you on the hot seat on this, do you actually believe that quote and unquote if, and it's a big if Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Shettima actually get into power, you believe that there is an Islamization plot, or you believe that there's a danger to Christianity under them? Let's listen to you on this.
Thank you, the convener. By virtue of where I stand, now I see things, I may not want to go into details of that question. But one of the things that we ask is the First Lady going to be at the FEC meeting where the decisions will be made? Definitely not. It's not about decisions being made. It's not about because at the end of the day, it's about majority carrying the vote. You understand? Where the decisions are being made, you need to have a representative. If you don't have a representative when decisions are made, after it has been made, you cannot upturn it. Why are we telling our members to start getting involved in politics? It's because over the years, we discovered that decisions are being made, and we are affected by the laws and those policies, you understand, which we did not make any contribution to. Yeah, so that's in a nutshell, that's just it for many of us. If a Muslim ticket is allowed to fly now, you understand, when the decisions are being made, you are gradually not having representatives or representation in such forums. Even with a pastor as a vice president, what are we having today? Look at where the areas the insurgencies have actually thrived, as in they have attacked without any form of repealing. You understand? Without any reprisal to their attacks and all that. Most of those areas are actually Christian-dominated areas. You now find a scenario by they come, they attack, and they leave. You understand? And hours after they are long gone, you now begin to hear that security forces, or as the case may be, begin to show up. And that's just exactly what we are talking about. It's not, and governance is not just about the arrowhead. It's about the people you have surrounded yourself with. Tinubu will not be everywhere. He cannot oversee, even if as a young man, even if he were to be, even if he could roll his years 30 years back, he still will not be everywhere. He still will be depending on people or to trust people to help him take care of certain responsibilities. You understand? And one of the, like we said, what brought us to this point is the issue of the compromise. You get what I'm saying? As in people being sympathizers or sympathetic about these people. I remember in the previous episode, one of my friends was on the platform to share with us how Boko Haram started and all that in Borno. These were their friends. These were people they went to the same school together with. You understand? And they were all growing up together. And so, and they know them. They can tell their history, how they came about, and all that. And after some time, because of the friendship that exists, and that also reminds me of how the military approach is before now, irrespective of who you are to them. You understand? When they find out that, despite the fact that you are my friend, but you have been indicted to have taken part in a coup, you are gone. You understand? That's what we used to have prior to, I think, even up till Sani Abacha's time. You understand? No matter who you are, you get. But here we are now, where people can no longer take such bold decisions against the perceived enemies of the state. Why? Because they feel, oh, I know him, he is my brother, the religious bond that exists between us is stronger than this other one, and all that. So, really, number one is, yes, probably he's a liberal Muslim, like majority of the Muslims. And the first question I asked before the whole issue came up, I asked my friend, I said, do you think that the northern Muslims will allow that a Christian represents them? Because the moment Tinubu won the primaries, that was the first question I asked. And the person said, no, I do not think the North will allow that their representation in the Federal Executive Council is going to be a Christian. They would rather a Christian is the president, and the person from the North is the vice, as in the Muslim from the North is the vice president, than to have a Muslim president and a Christian vice president. You get? Because they feel the other person would defend their interest, while this other one may look away. And so that aside, and in addition to the fact that we've talked about the issue of equity and distribution for a nation who has been divided this much over the past 5 years, then because even the cardinal states that try to experiment Muslim this thing, we see what is becoming of Southern Cardinal now. It's now becoming a graveyard. You get? So these are many more, are just one of those reasons why we just feel no, it can't work or it should not be encouraged. Nigeria is already polarized. We don't need further divisions along those fault lines. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, PLIDE-GAHRD Falabi. I'll still come to you, but for now, let me go back to the other.
We can hear you, the convener.
Thank you so much, PLIDE-GAHRD. Thank you for expatiating on that. And once again, I apologize for putting you, in a tight corner, but I just needed to hear from you on that. So tonight is for us to air our views individually, and to just any topic of your choice. So let me go to PLIDE Lukman. After that, I'll go to PLIDE Sholafa, and then I'll be back to you, Olade Afolabi. So PLIDE Lukman, what do you want to discuss about this evening? What is your own topic?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Actually, this evening, let me talk about getting your the process of getting your roadworthiness certificate and getting your vehicle inspected in Lagos State. Firstly, what you need to do is you visit any of the VIO office, the Vehicle Inspection Service office near to you. You pay for your roadworthiness and get it renewed. That is when it expired. After, you'll be given a slip. So you now take that slip. During that process of renewal, you tell them, you choose the inspection center that you want, that is more closer to you, either your working place or place of residence, wherever that is more convenient for you. So you tell them that they should choose that inspection, because we have the inspection center in most of the local government. So when you choose, they'll pick it for you. You take it there. They'll pick it for you. They'll give you a date to go and the time to go. If you follow that date and time, you get your vehicle inspected without any delay. But if you don't follow that date and time, then you have no choice. If you go in another day, you have no choice than for you to follow the queue. You have to wait. It's according to number, according to how you came for the inspection. So after that, you get your vehicle inspected. They check for your wiper, your tires, your brake lights, your trafficator lights, your steering. If it's not hard, it's computer test. Everything will be tested with machine. So after that, if you pass the test, you'll be given a report. That is the result of the test to be given to you, just like a A4 paper. Everything will be there and will be given to you. Then you proceed to the VIO office. In that same center, you proceed to the VIO office there, give them the report. If you pass the test, immediately they'll print your original certificate for you. But if eventually you fail the test, they'll tell you where the vehicle had one or two issues or problem that you should go and fix it. So you go and fix the problem, then you bring it back for a test. And that is why, if we look closely, we discover that in Lagos State today, breakdown of vehicles have reduced because the new inspection is really, let me say, forcing people to make sure their vehicles is in good condition and to take proper care of their vehicles, because most people do say this when they come for this. Some of them will say, if not for this test, I won't do my vehicles. So I spent 100,000, I spent 70,000 to repair my vehicle because I wanted to come for this. If not, I won't do that. So that's the basis. And then again, there's another system, which is the ANPR, automated number plate recognition. Is like a camera that we have on Lagos Road now, which captured expired documents. Once your vehicle plied the road, the camera will capture your plate number, then run through your details, your vehicle details, and if eventually one of your documents, either the roadworthiness, the insurance, or vehicle license have expired, the camera will issue a fine for you immediately. That is why we can all see reduction in officers, their officers stopping private vehicles on the road anyhow to ask for their document, for them to show their roadworthiness, to show. something like that don't happen anymore like we have it before, except if you have a physical damage. That is recreative vehicles. That's the only vehicles VIS officers stop now, which is the windscreen. You have a windscreen damage or your trafficator light damage, whatever. Any form of recreative vehicles, that's what they stop on the road now. So that's a little I want to share. Although I didn't prepare for this meeting, I got back now, so I saw the topic and just joined. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so very much. And look, you've said something that
you've touched on a topic
that's you've touched on a topic that's very important to many. The other time, I believe you probably would have seen a couple of months back that someone actually posted on the forum without knowing that you're actually that we have one of ours in the VIO offices and requesting to know how to do. You know, the beauty of it, what I love about all you've gone over is the fact that you made it look. People have this impression that anything about Nigeria, if you go to offices, all these agencies, they will collect bribe, they will waste your time, they will, but I mean, absolutely automated, and if these things can result in if they do result in reduced accidents and on our roads, and then all the best, So, but I'm going to ask you two questions. We've not heard of trucks being arrested, owners of trucks are being impounded, because it would appear to me that these things are voluntary, because I know all of us know people who are driving their cars who have never had to go for this MOT, who still till today have not gone. And nobody has stopped them on the roads, so, and then you still have trucks breaking down, killing people every day. That for me is one of the saddest parts, and you still have, all these trucks. In fact, I saw a video recently. I will see these videos regularly. You have these trucks that are bent almost and they're supposed to be carrying heavy duty containers, and then they are bent almost to the other side, and they're driving like that with whatever load they're carrying tilted to one side. And then those are certified deaths for a lot of people. They kill people on the roads and all this. So what are the VIOs doing about? And you talked about ANPR, and of course the other time someone was arguing that they remove cameras online, and I'm like, these are ANPR cameras. So these ANPR cameras, you say, okay, they will issue fines, but there are vehicles that we see on those roads. Buses, vans, public transport, and nothing ever changes. Nothing ever changes. It's not like they get arrested. It's not like those vehicles get confiscated, impounded. I mean, so what is the VIO? What is your organization doing at these areas of lapses, to address these areas of lapses and ensure that our roads are actually safer?
All right, sir. Let me start with the issue of truck. Actually, we do arrest truck, but the only thing is, what I discovered personally is that most of these truck drivers and commercial vehicles, they don't work doing the of VIO. Most especially, you see them coming out early in the morning, and you see them off in the evening. If we are servants.
Okay. Hello. We can't hear you. Hello.
We got that, but most of that work in these truck vehicles necessary documents. They knew they don't have it, and they are ready to run. That's what we specialize on now, recreative vehicles and so on. And if we are also observant, we discovered that on Lagos Road, there are not many again as we have them before, except those that work very early in the morning. before we start work, before we get in, like the way we have it, or breakdown of vehicles on the road, like the way we have it before, when there's traffic that you just see many vehicles breaking down, not moving again, which cause more traffic and the other. Those things have just that, is a new system, and another means that we use to apprehend them is they are getting their roadworthiness. We started that January. When you don't, when most of them do run for the inspection, but what we do is we have a gadget that we work with. Even with my phones, I have an app that I can run through any document on the road and discover that you have a fine with your vehicle.
Okay. I believe that. Okay, I think his connection has gone very dodgy there. So if you are, can you unmute and let me see?
Can you hear me now, sir?
Oh, okay, we can hear you. Welcome back. We lost you there for a moment. So just go on.
Okay, this time we show us that you have a pending fine. That is when the AMP have captured your vehicle for an expired document. So most of them that are running, they have no choice, because they will still get to that point where most of them will be, unlike before that they do away that some people will not renew their vehicle for 2-3 years. So we have many means to apprehend them. The other one is the gadget that I talk about. Even we have the cameras on our patrol that when you pass through the vehicle, it will send a signal that particular vehicle have a pending fine. So you get, so that are coming from Ogun State, from other states and the other that goes in. Even we have people that live in to do this thing. So
if you're listening to this webinar, please take this message out there and let people know that, look, this is for the good of each and every one of us.
Sorry, sir. Hello, sir. Another important message. I want us to take note that on our roadworthiness certificate, there is always a time on it. For most people, they always feel my vehicle document will expire on the 30th or on the 29th, and they will say, okay, when it expires, I'll renew it the next day. Even on that day of expiration, if your vehicle expired 10 a.m. and you pass through the camera can capture it after that 10 a.m. So we should know that. So it is very, very important. And most people that their vehicle will expire during weekends and they wait till Monday. Once you see that your vehicle will expire on Saturday, it's better for you to do it on Friday, because we don't work on Saturdays and Sundays. So camera can capture it within that period, that Saturday and Sunday. So we should always check our vehicle document, because even the camera is more working than effectively than the human, than the officers. So that's just the message. Thank you.